Welcome to Conversations Live, the only interactive show that connects you directly with the authors that you can't get enough of. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. And before we begin, we'd first like to welcome our group that's taping live with us in Pearl, Mississippi, at the Pearl Public Library. Thank you all for joining us. We also would like to thank our sister chapters that are in Mississippi, Alabama, New Orleans, Montgomery, Chicago, and soon to be in Atlanta. So thank you all. And for all of our other listeners, thank you for taking time to join our program here with Conversations. We have a very special guest that's joining us today. She's written a blockbuster book that really focuses on the importance of things in our lives as well as people. This is her debut novel, and she's going to be talking to us about it and also about what led up to the writing of it. So please help me welcome Miss Nicole Rouse. How you doing, Nicole?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Great. And thank you so much for joining Conversations with us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
No problem. Nicole, we have a lot to talk about with the book. I mentioned it is your debut novel, but it definitely doesn't read like a debut. So we want to talk about the inspiration behind it. But before we get to that, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about who Nicole Rouse is?
Nicole Rouse. I was born in Philadelphia, born and raised in Philadelphia. I am currently living in a northern suburb of Chicago. I am a former classroom teacher, elementary school, and I'm now working in educational publishing here in Chicago.
Okay. For you, Nicole, was writing something that just seemed to come naturally? When did you desire to start writing, and when did you know that you had a gift with words?
I think I come from two parents who love to write. My father loves poetry. He writes a lot of poetry, and my mother, she's a much better writer than I am. So I think it was just something that I always saw them doing, and I did as a child all the time.
Okay. Have you been surprised? Let's fast forward now to today, Nicole. Have you been surprised at the success of the book and to look at a copy of a book that has your name on it? I mean, has that come as a shock to you, or does it seem like a gradual representation of the way your life was heading in the first place?
I think when I think about the journey, me even thinking about writing a book till now, I'm always surprised whenever I see the book with my name at the bottom of it. There were many times when I thought, this wasn't going to happen. I gave up several times, but there was something that always said, keep going. It's going to happen. Keep going. So I'm always shocked when I see it, and I love talking to people, and I'm just amazed at the response.
Now, Nicole, you have been fortunate, more fortunate than a lot of first-time authors, in that you didn't have to self-publish. You actually are released through a major publishing brand, through Kensington, with the imprint being under Urban Books. I mean, were you surprised that you didn't have to go the self-publishing route like a lot of first-time authors? And how has that journey to being with the big boys, how has that helped you as far as being able to brand yourself and to get people to recognize you?
Well, I actually, when I started writing, I have a friend who actually self-published, and I followed her everywhere that she went, so I got to see the kind of things that she went through with self-publishing. And I knew it was something that I really had to get ready for, because self-publishing is a lot of work as well. But one day I ran into the editor at Urban Christian, which is a part of Kensington, and I just believed that it was a matter of being in the right place at the right time. And we had a conversation, and she asked me to send her the first 4 chapters of my book, and, the rest, as they say, is history. I do notice a lot of the differences. I go to a lot of book signings with my friend that's self-published, and just the availability of getting books. She goes through so many more hurdles than I have to. And, a lot of times people, they want authors who are a part of a publishing house, a major publishing house. So I see a lot of disadvantages in that aspect as well. So I'm just very fortunate and very happy.
Okay, and after we take our first break, Nicole, we're going to get into the book, but I do want to ask you about the concept of the book. Can you tell us now, where did you get the idea from for such an intricate plot for the book?
I believe at the time that I started writing the book, I was in college and went through a lot of bad dates and bad breakups and wanted to kind of write my own stories with happy endings. So I think I'm a relationship kind of person too. So that's kind of where it was birthed from. And once I got older, I just added like the married couple in the story and just wanted to talk about relationships and the ups and downs in it.
Okay. One of the things I mentioned, Nicole, is that you are published through Kensington Publishing, but through a Christian fiction subsidiary of Kensington. When you think of the label Christian fiction, do you think it has helped you in promoting the book, or do you think that when people see it, they might they may like the way that the back reads, but when they see Christian on the front, they might be a little leery? What's been your response?
I think a lot of people, when I say Christian fiction, they kind of think that it's going to be a story that kind of preaches to you, that is full of scripture and telling you what you need to do and what you ought to do. So they're kind of hesitant. But when I talk about it being a story about real people and our real lives and, people who are saved, we live normal lives, it's nothing extraordinary. We believe in God and we try to do what's right. So the story is not, it doesn't preach to you. It just tells you a story and hopefully kind of gives you encouragement and inspiration on how to live.
Okay, all right. Again, our guest for this show is the author of the book Happily Ever Now. Her name is Nicole Rouse. Nicole, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to ask you to stay with us, and we'll be right back, and we're going to get into the storyline of the book, okay?
Okay.
All right, then.